Thanks for staying with us. President Bola Tinubu's decision to pardon Miriam Sanda, that's convicted for killing her husband in 2017, this has sparked mixed reactions across Nigeria. Supporters view it as an act of compassion and rehabilitation, noting her reported remorse, good behavior in prison, and the need to reunite her with her children. They argue that the president's constitutional power of mercy is meant to balance justice with humanity. Critics, however, see this pardon as unjust and a blow to the rule of law, suggesting it reflects privilege and selective justice. They insist it dishonors the victim's family and sends a dangerous message that serious crimes can be excused under the banner of mercy. The debate now centers on a moral question. Where should society draw the line between justice and mercy? You can join the conversation on 02016-352013 or 09024163440 or tweet us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewTVC. So you can join this conversation. So presidential pardons is not something that is just done in Nigeria. It's done all over the world. In fact, I had to research into some of the Greek history, where it started from, because I wanted to have like a precedence of where this started from. And I realized that sometimes, you know, I think there was, when they newly started, for instance, Greek history gave that about 6,000 petitions needed to have been written by members of the public before somebody is given a presidential pardon. And when they saw that many people would not get a presidential pardon, because how do you get 6,000 people to come and say, okay, oh, we want this person out, they had to move it to giving, you know, the leader at the time, or the king at the time, the emperor at the time, an authority to say I can, without having many people writing a petition to support that, right? And then it moved from, sometimes they say it is out of mercy, other times it's because there's a sort of political interest at the end of that presidential pardon. And from, you know, country to country, somehow they have adopted that the president has the power to look around and say, okay, you have been of good behavior in prison, you have spent almost all your years that you're supposed to serve, and it's time to get this presidential pardon. But, you know, sometimes when it happens like that, the people on the receiving end, people who have been hurt by those criminals, for instance, in the prison getting that, you know, pardon, how do they feel? What sometimes they feel so aggrieved, it seems like nobody is paying attention to their emotional needs concerning the situation, but just because government wants to do, you know, pardon people and move on with the politics as it is. So I would like to hear the initial thoughts of the ladies when you saw that this particular woman was pardoned among other people at this time. What did you think about it?
Okay, remember when this lady's crime had come to light, and it was really heartbreaking to see how an innocent young man who was fighting for his marriage, he had said she had a temperament. She was, you know, he always had to manage her, balance it with his family, defend her, stand up for her. And his friends saw how gruesomely she had murdered him in the heat of an argument, because, you know, he suffered for being kind. And a lot of us, of course, stood on the side of justice. We thought it was unfair that she would do that and then pick up the phone and try to hide it and call her family to hide under the protection of an elite family, influential family. And now she's simply benefiting from that as well, because now the argument online is that her family had written on her remorse, her good behavior in prison, and pleaded for this prerogative of mercy to be extended to her. And they also pleaded on humanitarian grounds on the side of her kids. The same kids she would not mature enough to look out for. You know, so just, you know, if she was looking out for them, that's why in Africa they'll tell the woman, wait till you gain, when it's made a sucker. For those who were even victims of abuse. Wait till you gain, when you go in office, go tell them, why didn't you just divorce him and go? Wait till you gain, for even to divorce and live an abusive marriage. Society blames women. So for this kind of woman who could not even prioritize and get help with that she needed for her temperament or whatever mental health problem she was dealing with that caused her to be such a vicious woman to this kind man. now, you know, she's now getting that prerogative of mercy on that same humanitarian ground because of the kids. I do not fault a prerogative of mercy, and I do not fault the president exercising it the way he did. That's why it's a prerogative of mercy. Usually, after the Council of State has decided on those who are befitting of a prerogative of mercy, they do the list and send to the president. He appends his signature, and they are free. They are either free to go, absolved of their crimes, but they are not free of the guilt. And a prerogative of mercy does not clear the record, as opposed to what we feel. All those politicians that got under the president's Buhari's prerogative of mercy that got away, it's like they think that it was pencil that write it. It's eraser that wipe it, that kind of mentality. No, it was in the records. We're going to know you for the crimes you were convicted for. We are going to tell your kids of the crime their fathers was convicted for, and the prerogative of mercy that their father enjoyed. You know, because we're a forgiving nation. So I cannot fault what the president did. I'm not in that boat at all. If, God forbid, I'm in a place where I needed the prerogative of mercy, God forbid that they are going to use criticism to bully the person that will sign for me. So it's when you're the beneficiary, I can't fault that. But the thing is that in Mariam Sanders' case, it's difficult, it's tough for me because there was a lot of emotions for me at the time. Young girl. In fact, I felt like why somebody slapped sense into her head. When I saw how remorseful she was in court, how she was screaming, she didn't want to go to jail. But I felt she really remorseful because she sees the life she just snuffed out of a young man, what she has cost his family, his mother and father, or she just doesn't want to account for her crime. She seems like a child who never was held to account, who never faced consequences all her life. She grew up into an adult who didn't think there were consequences. And so that emotion is disturbing me. Did not let the thing to rest.
But she was convicted in 2020 now. She's done
6 years of a life sentence for a murder, a gruesome, premeditated kind of murder. It didn't sit well. But I don't fault the president at all.
Okay. Nima, you spoke like my mind a lot on this particular topic, this particular subject, because for me, before I talk about Mariam Sanders, there was something else you talked about, that a pardon does not erase guilt. And that is why for the Ogoni 9, people who are criticizing it are saying that they want an exoneration of the Ogoni 9. Because giving them a pardon is assuming that they were guilty. So we'll see how that pardon works. But concerning Mariam Sanders, I too personally feel like she shouldn't have been given this pardon. Not that no human being deserves pardon. We all do. We are all, we are all flawed. But for me, I don't think that it sends the right message. I remember how emotional it was. It was so hard to know that she had, murdered her husband. And also the circumstances in which she did it. It showed that this was a man that was just willing to work with his wife. So, the kindness that you talked about. And then this was a woman who in the heat of whatever emotion she had, she killed her husband. And at the time she said that she went through his phones and realized that he was talking to other women and she couldn't take it anymore. But then the way she killed him, he had multiple stab wounds. My thought is, in the heat of the moment, when you stabbed him the first time and you saw blood, why it didn't stop you? You went over and over. You were ready for the consequences of whatever happened. You didn't care about the children. But during the trial, you would see she had her baby, she was feeding her baby, and at the time she finally was sentenced, the cry, you could hear that this was someone crying from the depth of her heart, So a part of me too just felt truly sorry for her and for the children that they had brought into the world. So they had lost their father through murder and they are now losing their mother forever. These children were orphaned as far as I'm concerned. So yes, that there's a possibility of being able to raise her children again. That is, that's good. But the family of the man, how would they feel about this? How would they feel that someone who gruesomely took their child's life has been given, is walking free? Hey. As you know, Nigerians, we laugh about a lot of things. A lot of people, men are coming out and saying, this is not the first, situation where we've had a woman gruesomely murder her husband and somehow got away with it. So are we passing a message that it's okay if a woman feels aggrieved to the point that she murders her husband and she can, that somehow the law would look into her case and let her go? So for me, I just don't feel that it sends the right message. Which I'm sure she's truly sorry, but there are some crimes that when you commit, your life will change forever. You have to face that for as long as you need to face it. And if it was a life sentence, maybe it should have been reduced instead of completely allowing her to go free. Yeah, that's how
we'll take a short break here. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Do stay with us. Welcome back. We're still discussing the presidential pardon that was given to Marian Sanda. And Amaka is ready with her thoughts.
So with this particular issue, I feel drawn in different directions, and I can't help to be a bit emotional about this particular situation. Because first, my heart goes out to the family of the man that was murdered. Because, when something happens to someone you love, your family member, all you want is justice for them. And you can never be rational as to, any pardon or mercy towards that person. But, being a Christian and being a Catholic, there's something that they taught us growing up where they say there's big sin and there's small sin.
Okay.
For the longest time, my brain used to tell me that there's a big sin and there's a small sin. But as I matured to being an adult, I just feel that sin is sin. Who classified big sin and small sin? And that brings me to the point whereby we all know that Section 175, of the Constitution grants the president the power to, for prerogative mercy. And he chooses who he wants to choose. And anyhow, regardless of how we want to see life, luck goes a long way and plays a huge role in circumstances of our lives. Yes. And it's also important to have the backing of people, regardless of whatever it is that happens in life. Why am I saying this? Within the justice reform system, we know that if you're sentenced to, if you go to prison, that you also have a right to petition to be to have reduced sentence, to be let out early due to good behavior. That is part of the justice reform system,
yes.
Regardless of presidential pardon. And also having people, like you talked about the history of the Greeks, also having people that can step in and petition for you is also important. It's so funny how some things can happen to some people. People just say, this one a bad case, they forget you. Well, you can be lucky. You have people that will stand on that matter. 10 years, 20 years, they are pushing this thing. They are writing petitions. They are talking to everybody. They are using all their connections. That's life. And that's why I say luck also plays a huge role. And we can see what happened. That even during the case, when this thing had happened, there had been a mention of mental health issues as regards this woman, where it was stated that, like by the friend of the husband, that the woman has a bit of mental issue, but the husband was covering that up. And not to excuse any bad behavior. We also saw that during the trial that she had a baby. So she was a new mother.
Nursing mother.
Yeah, nursing mother. And as women, we also know that some women suffer from postpartum depression after having a baby. And most times their hormones are more enraged than normal, right? So that doesn't excuse bad behavior. But regardless of that, or regardless of the pardon, and my mind still goes to the family of the person that has been hurt, because I always say something. It takes a bigger person to forgive a wrong. It's not easy. It's not easy to just forgive that someone just calls you stupid. To even forgive that is heavy. How much more taking a life? So that's why I said I'm drawn in different directions, but I don't fault the president for asserting his rights. And also the girl that was lucky to have a family that kept pushing and pushing for her, for her to be part of this, and maybe they kept a record of her good behavior and good deeds, so that when it was time, it was able to work in her favor. But I also believe that in situations that are so grievous, and I blame the justice system for a delay in executing death sentences. Because the reality is that if, let's say, after 2 years or 3 years, this sentence, the death sentence was executed, we will not be having this conversation.
We have a call on the line for Larry. Good morning, for Larry.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Yes, there's this
We can't hear you.
thing that. Can you hear me? Hello.
Continue.
All right, thank you. There's this question that has been ringing in my head,
Okay.
and I would like to ask you, ladies, please, is there any man that has murdered his wife in prison in Nigeria as we speak?
Yes.
There are.
The banker wife, the Ibadan
Let
case.
it finish. Let it finish.
We have
If
precedent
there
on that.
is- If there is somebody, is there anyone that is part of this presidential pardon? I just, I think we are a biased country. That's what I'm trying to say.
Are we?
Thank you.
Oh,
So,
okay.
he was
Please, can you
asking, is
respond
there-
to that? Yeah.
was asking if there was any man who had murdered his wife. Plenty day. And the one that have been convicted someday.
He's asking about
Whether they
pardon.
whether they made the list, that's another matter.
Maybe next year's list.
Because Council of State did not see everybody. Do you know how many awaiting trial cases
That we
should be
have.
free by now? That the police had already botched this investigation, and I don't know why those people are still awaiting. Tope was, talking about her security, who had someone
Yes,
who
in the
was arrested
farm.
because someone had been electrocuted at her farm, who was
Yeah.
stealing
Yes.
cables, and they waited endlessly to even present the person in court. So there are several. I need to be careful here. There are several things not exactly right or perfect with our justice system.
Okay.
Because I hate to say that our justice system is flawed, and the one country is better.
No,
It's
no
flawed
one is
everywhere in
better.
the world.
It's the one they give to us that we're
Yeah,
using.
no.
But-
It's even flawed everywhere in the world.
Yes.
Everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because Biden had also done a prerogative of mercy when he was president, and the entire world criticized because of the list of people, and he did a very free one where he says people for drug-related offences were just
son was included.
in every that's where I will fall the Council of State. Because why just 175 or 147 people that they now arrest?
They can't give
Go on,
everybody
take your
now.
call.
Yes, we have a caller,
can give everybody, why
Amaka
not?
from Port Harcourt. Where are we going to pick
Take your
pick
call.
them?
Take your call.
Amaka, are you there? Good morning, Amaka. Yeah. Continue. So you're asking.
as part of
Good morning.
Good morning.
I like what the last caller said.
Okay.
That is there any man that killed the wife that he has released? And hope is not man no man. We have some people that are poor, that are in the prison for one thing or the other. Then number two, hope is all around 36 states. Yes, like there's a man I know that worked for me that maybe used something to hit the uncle on his head. After 4 days, the uncle died.
Oh no.
The man is still in the prison. All people like that will be compensated, even though I'm not supporting those things.
Okay.
Okay? Hope is all over.
so,
Thank you very much.
Like that again after releasing them.
yes.
Thank you, Amaka, for your
So,
contribution.
I was going to say that it can be done
Okay.
in a larger number, because
Yeah.
you're asking. Our prisons have over inmates that we have in Kirikiri alone is more than 5,000, and totally overutilize the capacity of the prisons. So we do need prison, decongestion in certain ways, and there are several measures that the justice system has put in place, from the magistrates exercising certain powers of their visit and all of that, to the president's prerogative of mercy, to the AG's attorney general's nolli prosecute powers for those who are already on trial. And these powers must be exercised in public interest. I don't know how this one is totally
Exercised.
public interest
Okay.
now. I don't know what the Council of State was looking at, but I would expect that the Council of State is not just waiting for influential elites connected families
To write
before they look at
petitions?
the list. I would like to read the list except for Mariam Sanda and another name that I read. I don't know most of the people on the list. That's Farouk Lawan. These two people for me are very privileged people. They're enjoying their privileges. That's what I see. So we'd really like to see the entire list and how somebody of a nobody benefited, who was truly of good behavior. If you enter the prison and ask the warders, you will find plenty people who are just remorseful. Plenty people who have accepted God and started to preach in prisons, who I would like to see on this list. But what we are discussing now are people on this list who are privileged. Mariam is privileged, and so is Farouk Lawan.
Okay, so we have another caller, Henry from Akure. Henry, are you there? I think our call is delayed today. Henry, are you there?
Yes.
Good morning.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Good morning. The topic you are dealing with, the emotional, and I believe that the president must have, and the Council of State or whosoever committee that sat on this matter will have investigated and find out the merit. Yeah, because the number are so much, 170 something, you will still have some people that want you to ship in certain names. But for the lady in question, there's one thing we are not asking. It's possible that the family of the man and the family of the lady are united concerning the children.
That's a good
Maybe
point.
probably that's why they're pushing this
They may
thing.
have resolved.
Because I believe that those committee members, they are not also, they are human beings. They know what happened. And because this case is still fresh in our memory, that's why emotion is still high.
Yeah.
Assuming that spent like 10 years, 15 years, we'll have forgotten about it. All of us will be able asking, okay, let us leave her. But because it's still fresh, and I believe that maybe government also should put a caveat. If somebody is sentenced to life imprisonment, I think you should stay like 20 years before you can
getting the
think
pardon.
of prerogative of mercy. But whatever the president has done, there are people that are supposed to do the detailed work. We need to find out. Like drug bearer or whatever, kidnappers, those are the things we Nigerians want to hear. But let us find out details. Maybe some of them, remaining 5 months, 3 months, we don't know. But we are just talking.
We need all the details.
You are welcome.
Thank you so much, Henry. We'll be taking a short break here. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.